Evertony.
There's a break in there. Come on, break.
What's your 20, buddy?
Everton, what's yours?
Forward. What's our city Philadelphia, Roger?
Roger. What's the old handle?
$1, Comstock Kid, Roger.
Oh, 10-4, Comstock Kid. This is Tiny out here in Havertown. 10-4.
10-4 there, Tiny. 10-4. Yes, I have the copy up there.
Oh, not too bad. Coming up here about a 10.
All right, on the workbench, I got a Dak. This is a Mark 10. Some people call him Mark X. It's just the Roman numeral for 10. So these are Mark 10s, okay? I do hear people calling them both. But anyway, first off, if you're going to be using this video to work on your own Dak, or for whatever reason you have one and you're watching this video for some info, this has really high voltage in it. We have a driver tube and a final tube. Uses some really high voltage. So beware, don't just go putting your hands in there and, just messing around. This isn't, your typical base station. Anything with tubes, is going to have high voltage. Anything with those in it. In fact, if you guys are familiar with Mr. Carlson's Lab channel on YouTube, this is the radio that nearly killed him. Of all the things that he's worked on and he's done over the years, as brilliant as he is, this is the radio that gave him such a bad shock that it nearly killed him. So yeah, it's not an exaggeration. And this radio only has 2 tubes. So there's radios that are filled with them, and those guitar amp guys, man, let me tell you, they are some of them are pretty brave. But anyway, with that being said, I just wanted to get that out of the way. I don't want anybody dying. If you get bit by 110, 120, at like 15 amps. You're gonna have you're gonna get shocked, and you're gonna feel your heart race, and you're gonna get a pretty good buzz, like a buzz throughout your body. But with the voltages that are in this, if you get bit by this, it's death. Not like, damn, I shouldn't have done that. It's it's, you're a goner. And but anyway, all right, I digress. I really want to drive that point home. So this radio has, it's a hybrid radio. It is part solid state, and then you have a driver tube and a final tube. I don't know why this radio has that. This repair manual is from 1979, so by that time tubes were kind of, I wouldn't say obsolete, but I'd say more on the expensive side to put in modern equipment. So I don't know why Dak decided to put two tubes, make like a hybrid radio, but it is. So that's something you got to deal with. A lot of people don't like working on these. I don't particularly care. You need a lot of patience. They're not well built. They have power supply issues, board issues. I mean, I've seen boards that have, they're just waves. Like sometimes in the middle you'll see a wave. It almost collapses on itself from the weight. I don't know. They're just, the board, sometimes some people call them Cybernet. Some people call them Cybernet clones. You know what? I really don't know, and I really can't say exactly what it is. I don't think anybody really can with certainty, but if you go based on the color, it's almost like a Toshiba board, but whatever, it is what it is. It's from Dak, and a lot of people don't like working on these. A lot of people will hollow them out and put in some other type of board, some other type of chassis. I understand that. I'm kind of against that. I feel like if you have this radio, you should just try to maybe keep what's inside. I understand people don't like them. I understand that they're, okay performing radios, but I don't know, that's just me. I'm like the type of guy, if you guys are into hot rods, like if you're building like a like a 1930s, 1940s, or whatever year Ford or Chevy or, you know, Chrysler, Dodge, I feel like if you're going to be putting an engine in it, you should stick to that engine, you know what I mean? Like, you know, you see a lot of like the Ford, old school Fords will put like an LS engine in it. Well, they put LS engines in everything nowadays, which is kind of annoying, but, you know, I'm that type of guy. It bothers me. So, you know, if I'm restoring an old Dodge or an old Chrysler or whatever, I'm putting in a Mopar engine in that. If I'm working on a Buick, you best believe a Buick is gonna. I'd like to see a Buick in that engine. So, anyway, the DAC here, I'm kind of against hollowing these things out and putting in like, you know, Cobra 148 boards or whatever else people do to them. If you have patience and you're willing to, if you have a customer that is willing to understand what it takes to work on one of these, then, you know, you're pretty good. You know, you just need some patience. But anyway, enough of that. So this belongs to Bob out in Florida, down in Florida. Sent it up to me. I'm always hesitant to take these kinds of radios in, but whatever, I took it in. So this radio receives, does not transmit, if I remember correctly, because it's been a few months already. So that I'm backed up that amount. So, you know, another thing is if you guys want like a 2-week turnaround on something like this, definitely don't call me. Just, you know, don't, because I'm not that type of tech. You know, if you want somebody to even work on these, but if you want like a 2-week turnaround, just don't even bother calling me or emailing me, because it's just not going to happen. But anyway, I think he was transmitting and he heard a pop. So naturally, you know, that's what he was saying over the phone. Naturally, in my head, I'm thinking maybe a driver tube or something went on the, you know, driver or final stage on the radio. So, but anyway, I took the tube out. Sure enough, the final, I tested it. My tester is bad, so I have a guy a couple of towns down that restores old RCA radios, and he had a tube tester, so he tested the final and the driver tube for me. The driver was okay, final was bad, but I think I'm going to end up putting just 2 new tubes in it anyway. But you look over here, that's what he probably heard. The pop was those 2 resistors. So this bracket goes right in there, screws down. So there, that's where the final tube is. So it's probably the pop he heard. So I'm going to be upgrading. Actually, this here, when I looked at the schematic, it's only supposed to be 1 resistor in there. So I'm assuming they didn't have the correct resistor for that. So they just wired 2 in parallel. But according to the schematic, it's supposed to be 1 4.7 ohm resistor. So what I'm going to end up doing is, and I actually have another DAC here, so I confirm that with another DAC I have here. It's the one I have here is only 1 resistor. So don't know what happened here, but it is what it is. So I'm going to be upgrading the wattage on those. So I'm going to be using a 2-watt resistor in place of those, and then on the same the tube socket on the final. Damn, these radios are big and heavy. There is another resistor that got burnt up. Where am I here? Okay, that got burnt up pretty well. Interesting enough, it's still within spec, but I'm gonna be replacing that one as well. So yeah, obviously something went wrong with the final stage on this radio. I don't know if the tube was being overdriven. I have no idea, but you know, cosmetically this radio is probably like a B+, but electronically it is in rough shape. And this is one of those situations where the less you touch, the better. Yeah, just like look like up there. Just a lot of hands have been in this radio, and they weren't skillful hands. Probably like butcher hands have been in this radio. So yeah, this does have a channel mod switch in the front, which is right there. when I opened it up, one of the wires was missing off the switch, so I'm assuming he didn't have whatever mod that is, uppers or lowers or something. But yeah, just I don't understand why you how that happens, or even that up there. You know, somebody had bent that bracket. And then, yeah, so this is one of those situations where touching, where less is going to be more. So what I end up doing is I'm going to end up doing all the high voltage caps throughout the radio on the bottom side here. So this is pretty much all high voltage here. So this radio's unplugged. It's been unplugged. So, you know, there's no danger right now, but don't touch. If you are, again, don't touch anything in here. You will get zapped. But yeah, so this is, basically he's like, well, just do what, you know, just do as if it were your radio. If this were my radio, I wouldn't even touch this. Nothing here. This is just, it's a catastrophe waiting to happen, but definitely do the high voltage caps and the 2 tubes and those resistors, and then yeah, I'll take it from there. Hopefully it will fix this problem. Obviously an alignment, I'll give this a full alignment, but as far as touching that main board there, I'm going to refrain from doing that unless I have to. But let me get this fixed, upgrade those resistors, and then yeah, we'll put everything back together. Hopefully he has transmit back. If not, I'll have to do some more diagnosing. I don't like really dealing with high voltage, but whatever. I mean, I'm not really scared, but you know, you never know. You know, if Mr. Carlson can get zapped, I can definitely get zapped, you know. But all right, let me get this repaired, and we'll see what happens. All right, so here's the pieces. That's the 4.7 ohm resistor on the bottom side of the excuse me, on the bottom side of that socket for the final tube, and then those are the pieces for the that got blown apart. So yeah, that got upgraded to one of these, a 3 watt excuse me, a 2 watt resistor. You can't fit anything larger, not that it needs it anyway, but yeah, so it's good to go. Fixed. I shouldn't say good to go, but it fixed the no transmit. So this has been warming up now for several minutes. So can key up now and can see we have a carrier. So this had a high carrier. So this had almost a 7 watt carrier. So I'm sure that probably had something to do with that resistor in the tube being blown. So, but yeah, I turned it back down. Which is off frequency, but also I still got to align her, but this also has the clarifier has been unlocked, so 4748. All right, there we go. See what we have for modulation. Audio, check, audio, check 1, check 2, check 1, check 2, DAC 10, check 1, check 2. All right, it's not over modulating, actually. Let me just do it quick. I should have turned this oscilloscope on already, but we can let it warm up, but let's see. Oh, yeah, that's going to have to. That is horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. Jeez. As Mike would say, boxcars. So, all right, I got to get this thing aligned. But I think I'm going to stop the video here. Basically, I guess the point of this video is to show that sometimes a visual inspection is what's needed first and foremost, especially if somebody tells you that, you heard a popping sound or like something similar like that, or like smoke came out. Try looking first for some evidence of that, whether it be something melted or, in the case of this, resistors that have been burnt up. That is a sure sign that that's probably the pop that he heard was those resistors blowing apart. So I'm going to go ahead and align this, and I'll probably put her on here. Maybe I'll do like a quick short, one of the YouTube shorts on this after it's been aligned. But yeah, that's a horrible waveform. So I'll get this thing aligned. I'm sure somebody somewhere has done something to this, especially based on the work that I see, the repairs, quote-unquote repairs that have been done in this. So I'm going to try to get this as straight as possible, do what I can to make sure that he gets a good radio that will last him a little while longer. But let me tell you, these radios are tough to work on. But yeah, anyway, this one's done as far as repairs. So I'm going to go ahead and align her. But thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate your views, and I appreciate all the good support and the emails that I've been getting as of lately. So it means a lot to me. It really does. Getting emails that I've been getting emails saying that I'm honest and just a good tech, and that's really what I strive for. I'm not gonna I'm not the most fast tech. I do have a life outside of repairing radios, but I feel like there's a void with like this style radio and techs. I get a lot of phone calls about Brownings and the tram. I actually have a tram D201A here that I'm going to try to get going for somebody. It's just nobody is willing to work on these radios, or I should say they are, but we are far and few in between. So, but anyway, not to pat myself on the back, I do appreciate the good emails you guys have been sending and the good comments. So I appreciate it. Thanks for watching, guys.